Councilmember Madera,
Present.
Councilmember Frank,
Present.
Councilmember Diaz,
Here.
Councilmember Douglas,
Present.
Councilmember Huseman,
Present.
Councilmember Elliott,
Present.
Councilmember Guardiola.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. For the record, everyone is here this evening. First item of business is an executive session, so I'm open for a motion to go into that executive session. Mr. Teeter.
Move to go into executive session under CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses A, B, and E.
And it's for the purpose of receiving legal advice and determining positions and instructing negotiators concerning the potential lease of said property, correct?
Correct.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Douglas. Have a second. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are planning this to be a half an hour. So for those folks in the audience, please bear with us. We should be done and back out here in approximately a half an hour. Thank you.
You're gonna like your pen.
Hmm?
I said, get your pen, you're gonna like it.
I asked her tonight. She said, I haven't even wanted to get it, so we'll get on for it.
I got mine for Best Buy.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah. They're $95. Principal tip.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get it.
So I just bought mine at Best Buy, and then for equipment reimbursement.
Okay, everybody's back up here. Thank you all for being patient, bringing the meeting back to order. We just got out of our executive session. I want to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if everybody will join me for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, if the staff will please pass around the microphone, allow people to introduce themselves.
Good evening. I'm Bill Hyde, Adams 14 Board of Education.
Jimmy Archuleta, Adams 14 Board of Education.
Javier Abrego, Adams 14 Superintendent.
Sarah Mackey, Adams 14 parent.
Francisco Galvin, Adams 14 parent.
Vianith Galvan, Adams 14 parent.
Dina Valadez, principal of Central Elementary School.
Elizabeth Sanchez, teacher at Central Elementary School.
Cameron Wise, Adams 14 Communications Department.
Patrick Buckley, City of Commerce City.
Maria DeAndre, Public Works.
John Vetterling, Public Works.
John Aguilar, Denver Post.
Justin Siegel, Concord Partners.
Yeah, Mark Bush with Concord Partners. We're the Buffalo Run developers, and we're here with representing the Buffalo Ridge Metropolitan District tonight.
Great. Thank you all for being here this evening. Start off our meeting with proclamations and recognitions. Tonight we have a presentation from Adams 14 School District. I'd like to invite the school district representatives forward, please.
Mayor Ford and distinguished members of the board, thank you for having us here today. It's just important for us to share ideas and things that are going on in the district. So first of all, I want to thank our board president and the rest of the board members because they have put over $1 million into technology in our district. So we want to thank them for that. And we also have a video and some teachers here that are going to share what's going on in our district on a first-hand basis. So at this time, I'll turn over to Mr. Archuleta, our board president, and let you know why we're putting so much money into technology.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Ford, and distinguished members of the board. Welcome to the new members that are newly elected. Timmy Archuleta, president of the Board of Education. We've been meeting with City Council quite a few times, and I think it's very important that we continue. And during our last meeting that we had, it was kind of expressed that the students were not able to have fun at school. You know, we've invested a lot of money into technology and trying to make school fun for the kids, you know, because we do need to bring the scores up and everything, but we want to do it in a positive way. So we've invested a lot of taxpayer money into new ways of learning for the kids, which makes it fun for the kids. I was able to, and you'll see in the video, hopefully you'll get a chance to watch the video and see exactly what we're doing. So thank you for the time to come and present to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
And next, again, we have a teacher here who's going to share some information with you from our classroom. A fifth grade teacher, Ms. Sanchez.
Great.
Thank you so much for having us here. I just am excited that we have the opportunity to use Chromebooks in our classroom. Makes it a lot more interesting for the children and engaging for them. And I have a couple of students here to claim that, I hope.
Okay.
Angel Galvan.
There you go.
Hello, my name is Angel Galvan, and I'm a fifth grade student at Central Elementary. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about how it's more like the Chromebooks help us learn more than the years that we couldn't have them. So I'm gonna first say that they help us in learning because my classroom was doing a 5-essay paragraph, and our teacher sent us some videos to give us some information of like how some information to put that we can put in our paragraphs, and we could also use our Chromebooks to search up information that we would put in our paragraphs to help to get a better, like, to have our paragraphs better. And also how our Chromebooks also help is because one day I went to a fourth grade classroom, and we brought our computers because our teacher wasn't here, but she sent us some work to do while we were in that fourth grade classroom. And we kept learning what our fifth grade classroom was learning, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is Ethan Wagner.
I'm Ethan Wagner, student of Central Elementary in fifth grade, and I think the Chromebooks have helped us more because when, like in math, we watch videos on a website, and when we watch those videos, our teacher assigns us to something to do, like in math, and then we do what we learned from the video. And also, I think the Chromebooks are better because we don't have to get up and go all the way to the technology lab. We could get up when the teacher asks us to grab our Chromebooks.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we want to thank our teacher and also the principal, Ms. Valadez. And I believe we have a video that we want to share with the council.
Great. Thank you.
To the Adams 14 Board of Education. Adams 14 Board of Education, we'd like to say,
Thanks a million. Thanks a million. Thanks a million. Thanks a million.
since early 2016, the Adams 14 Board approved over $1 million in increased classroom technology. That put more than 2,600 Chromebooks in neighborhood schools. A Chromebook offers the convenience of a laptop computer at the fraction of a cost. The color touchscreen makes learning come alive when students touch interactive maps, watch educational videos, and see lessons in online books. With the touch of a fingertip, you can zoom in and read text and see details.
This is not a regular computer because you could tap it and it's just going to go on it. It makes it fun because they're touchscreen, so we can zoom in and zoom out.
Logging in is a breeze, and students have immediate access to schoolwork, assignments, interactive learning, and more. Chromebooks give our students many opportunities to learn in fun and exciting ways. These students are using the Chromebook to create a travel brochure. This allows them to work at their own pace while they learn geography, sociology, and language arts, all in one activity.
We're working on a traveling brochure about Mexico. We're working on what makes this place special and how they get around and where it's located.
I came in as a 6th grader, and when I found out that there were going to be Chromebooks, I was really happy.
This is the first year I've had a laptop card in my classroom, and the benefits have been overwhelming. For their brochure projects, students would simply share, type in my last name, email it to me with comments.
With the Chromebooks, we can share it to our teacher and they'll get it.
Storing schoolwork online also makes it easy to show your family at home.
My mom likes to see what I do because sometimes I have homework, but then she's like, what is your homework about?
She showed her mom at home what they've been working on. The student came back to me the next day saying, Ms. Westcott, my mom always hated social studies, and she wishes her social studies was as fun as what we're doing right now in class. Not only social studies is fun, but school is fun.
I know when we're pulling out the Chromebooks, I'm going to feel happy because it's fun using it.
With Chromebooks in my classroom, it makes the learning environment so much more engaged. Students are wanting to learn with the Chromebooks.
Last year we didn't have these, and this year we can do a lot more things on it.
They made the school fun because we wouldn't have to be writing on paper, because for the Chromebooks, we just have to move our mouse around and click on videos or images that we want to look at.
The decision to purchase Chromebooks and invest in the technology in our schools was a decision that the Board of Education looked very seriously into investing. We understand that it's taxpayer money, so we want to make sure that our students are able to learn with the proper equipment to be able to compete in the world.
So what you're looking at here is an activity that is relating real-world application using a menu.
What we're going to do is get a main dish first, and these are the dinners right here.
So in this activity, the students are using all operations of math, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. They're using collaboration, cooperation in order to get that math entwined into their life.
This year, we're able to take their learning to a different level. So accessing websites, gathering information in different places that we haven't had that ability to do that. And one of the exciting things is we can check out books from a library.
At the edge of the forest stood a mountain. The ants looked up and could not see its peak.
With Chromebooks, they are listening to the story, and the story is being read to them. So some extremely positive things for that are, for example, struggling readers. They're able to access that information. They also take notes and annotate the text, which are all strategies that we practice.
Chromebooks make a difference in my learning because when you read the book, it's different, because in the Chromebooks, you can look at the picture closer, you can hear the reader read, you can see the words, and you can have a better view of what you're learning about.
So I was able to come to Hanson Elementary School today and observe a 5th grade math class. I think it was really interesting to watch the excitement of the students in being able to get the Chromebook out They did their problem first on paper, and then they converted it over to see if their answer was correct utilizing the Chromebook.
Chromebooks allow teachers to prepare lessons that meet the needs of advanced students and those who need extra support.
With the Chromebook, you can go in and assign specific students different reading. It could be the same article, but just at their level, so that they're able to access the information where they're at rather than struggling through it.
Each child is at a different level in different places throughout the day, most of the day, and we are able to provide reteach and enrich activities for those students, and they're able to be taught at their levels.
It is way more fun with the Chromebooks. They are so excited to learn with them.
We believe it helps prepare them for the future.
Participate, come in and see what your students are doing. Understand that we are doing the best we can for our students.
The students are excited about that learning process. Their achievement is going to become better in the classroom, and they're going to become lifelong learners because they're excited about school and education.
Thanks a million for the Chromebooks. Thanks a million.
First, I want to thank the school district. We know that District 14 has had some struggles, and we want to get back on par, and it's part of our community, and we want to make sure we have good education. So I'm very thankful that you are looking at some new technology and new ways to help get these kids engaged in their education. So thank you. Go ahead.
We have some invitations to leave for you to come visit our classroom sometime, so I'm not sure where you want them to put them. But
You know what? I think we ought to have all those kids come on up, and the council could come down and we'll take a picture with them. How's that?
that sounds like a great idea.
Great. If the council will join me down front, please. The teachers and school board, come on up as well. I'm very thankful of the school district coming in this evening because the collaborative opportunities that we have to help strengthen the district and partner with the needs of School District 14 as well as School District 27J to help better our community. So the more often that we can share ideas and efforts, the more supportive we can be on the other side. So thank you all for coming in tonight, and thanks for engaging the kids with something new and exciting. So thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is citizen communication. There was a list. Tonight it doesn't look like anybody signed up, but I always ask, is there anybody in the audience that has anything they want to bring to the council during citizen communication? Just raise your hand if you do. Seeing none, we're going to move forward in our agenda. You have the approval of the minutes of October 2nd, 2017. So this is something new. New council members and council members absent from October 2nd meeting are eligible to vote on the approval of the minutes even though they weren't here, which is our attorney has advised me that you guys can read through those minutes and you can vote on those minutes. So tonight, the four new seated council members or anybody that was not present at that meeting of October 2nd can vote. So with that said, I'm open for a motion to approve the minutes of October 2nd, 2017. Yes, sir. That's all right. You can still vote. That's what I just said. All right, Mr. Teeter.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of October 2nd, 2017.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the October 2nd, 2017 minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Moves us into the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes items that are routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, and non-controversial. They are presented to council for a single motion and vote. Any member of council may ask to remove a specific item for further discussion and a separate vote. Tonight there are 3 items listed under the consent agenda. Does anyone on council want to remove an item off of the consent agenda for further discussion? Now, since we have 4 new council members, when I get to that point, because I have people that like to push their button to make a motion, this is where I need you to go. I want to have something come off that consent agenda. So I don't want to move on and not give you a chance to pull something off that consent agenda. So is there anyone on the council? Mr. Huseman.
I'd like to pull Resolution 2017-136.
2017- what?
136.
136. Okay, got it. All right, so that leaves 2 items on the consent agenda. Anybody have any concerns with the other 2? Seeing none, I'm open for a motion to approve the consent agenda with the 1 being pulled off. Anybody?
Second.
And I need a motion. Steve?
Motion. Motion on the floor.
All right, I have a motion for Mr. Douglas. Councilwoman Elliott.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Will the attorney please read the titles?
Ordinance 2154, an ordinance amending the 2017 budget of the City of Commerce City, Colorado by the recognition of the Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Funds in the amount of $8,625.27 for the Bulletproof Vest program in the Police Department and the authorization of the expenditure thereof. Resolution 2017-135, resolution approving First Amendment to Professional Services Agreement with HDR Engineering, Inc.
Thank you. Titles have been read. I have a motion and a second. I'll ask for a roll call vote. For the record, the consent agenda has been approved unanimously this evening by the City Council. Now we'll get back to Resolution 2017-136. Mr. Huseman, would you let us know why you pulled that off the consent agenda and what you'd like to know?
So while reviewing the proposal or estimate of services from GeoCal, they have listed in there $5,000 for their mileage, for vehicle mileage, at a cost of 50 cents a mile. That is twice what the mileage would be for HDR, who is the program manager. And calculating at 58 miles from their home office to the project location, that would be 86 trips, round trip, from their office to the job site. Are we to expect that they're going to do 86 trips in that short amount of time?
Maria, please.
Yeah, I'll have John Vetterling, our project manager, come up. He negotiated with GeoCal, so he can speak to that question.
Great, thank you.
So that item is not just their mileage from their site to the job site, but it's their truck mileage on the job site, driving up and down. The nature of the T88 project, there's work right now going on all the way from where the Grandma Gulch is, which is between 96th and 88th, all the way up to 112th. And so we only pay for the actual mileage they incur, but they put a number in there to estimate how much driving back and forth they would do if they're testing on one end of the job and then have to drive up and test on the other end. The language in the contract is such that if they don't actually, and they have to provide us with evidence of their mileage. So if they don't actually incur those miles, we don't pay for them. But that's the estimate based on kind of a worst case scenario.
Does that answer your questions, Mr. Huseman?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions or concerns with Resolution 2017-136 before I move on? Saying none, I'm open for a motion to approve 2017-136 resolution. Mr. Teeter.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-136.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Diaz.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2017-136. Would the attorney please read that title?
Resolution 2017-136, resolution approving First Amendment to Professional Services Agreement with GeoCal, Inc.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Which brings us to the public hearing portion of our meeting. We have Resolution 2017-122. I'm going to go ahead and open that public hearing and invite the staff forward to give their presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and new council members. Appreciate your time this evening. Robin Kearns with the Planning Department, here to present case MD-106-17 for the Buffalo Ridge Metro District. This is about amending and restating a service plan for this district. This district represents the villages of Buffalo Run East and West, as highlighted in this vicinity map. It represents an area of approximately 443 acres, and it has mostly residential zoning, but there is also some commercial as well in that development. The Metro District finances the construction of public improvements for the use and benefit of the anticipated taxpayer of the district. The service plan authorizes the district to issue debt to provide these public improvements, and the debt is paid by the district through fees and tax revenues collected from the mill levy. The district debt is not an obligation of the city and does not impact our city's budget. As proposed by the Buffalo Ridge Metro District, they're proposing to amend an original document in 1996. There were two previous amendments. This would be the third. Today's proposed changes are to increase the authorized amount of debt from $25 million to $43 million, with no specific change to the mill levy proposed. The rationale is that they would like to complete improvements along the south side of East 120th Avenue. That extends all the way from the east side of this project, which is the Buckley Road High Plains Parkway, to the west side, which is basically I-76, or that ramp across it. So it is a pretty lengthy area of East 120th Avenue. So this is to meet infrastructure obligations, and we have obviously the attachments for you. In recommendation, the Development Review Team is recommending that the City Council approve the amended and restated service agreement for this case, MD-106-17, Buffalo Ridge Metro District. That is the completion of my presentation. There is also the applicant available tonight if there are questions.
Great, thank you. Would the applicant please like to come forward and add anything to the discussion?
Yeah, my name is Mark Bush, 905 West 124th Avenue, Westminster 80234. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman, Councilwoman. I don't really have a ton to add. I talked with Robin, and I also spoke with Roger today. I did want to bring up one subtle refinement point is probably an abundance of caution, and also we always want to be completely transparent in terms of whatever we're doing, but we do anticipate Gallagherizing our mill levy, so we would be increasing the mill levy based upon the Gallagherization reduction in the residential tax assessment that's occurring for 2018. I don't know how familiar you are with Gallagher, but I did want to be transparent that we are anticipating raising the mill levy from 42.5 to about 49.5 coming for 2018, just to keep in balance for the district's revenues due to the decrease of the tax assessment that's been gone through the state legislature this year associated with the Gallagher, and I'm happy to explain that more. But we also, one other point would be is that one of the strong rationales is Buffalo Run starting to become a bit more mature, and we're hearing from a lot of our homeowners. I serve on the HOA board also, too, that we would like to see 120th get finished off. There's no pedestrian connectivity along 120th. It's really meant to be developed in the same capacity as 104th. And it's not in the city's CIP plan. I know you guys have a lot going on with your 2K and so on and so forth. So we wanted to accelerate the finishing of that area so that we have a finished product and a finished kind of edge of our project to the north. And we also want to do some other project enhancements and create some, really stimulate our commercial development 120th, just because the road condition has really been kind of turning off the commercial users that we've been suiting out there. But I just wanted to add that. I don't have a whole lot, but I'm really happy to answer any questions any of the council members may have.
Great, thank you. Does the City Council have any questions for our staff or the applicant at this time? Mr. Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Bush.
Thank you.
Now, would this mill levy just be for the commercial?
No,
impact?
the mill levy would be adopted across the board for commercial and the residential.
Okay, so the residents who live within the vicinity, their mill levy would be increased?
Yeah, their mill levy, correct. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. But,
okay.
Yes, it would be just the way the Gallagher amendment works, and it affects the city also too. It allows the city to adjust its mill levy without having to go back to the taxpayers to ask for an increase of your mill levy. The residential, the way that I talked to Roger, but it's somewhat of a convoluted scenario. But the way the state's set up is that 45% of the property tax revenues in the state are set to be collected through residential taxes, 55% by commercial taxes. The commercial tax rate is set at 29% and fixed. The tax assessment for residential can float by a vote of the legislature in order to keep that 45-55 in balance in terms of total property tax collected within the state. So what we need to be able to do in order to be able to issue debt from the district is ensure that we remain revenue neutral. So the taxpayers within the boundaries of the district, the residential taxpayers, will not see an increase of, actually the monetary amount of their taxes will remain consistent. So for example, if you paid $500 in property taxes in 2017, you would be paying $500 in taxes in 2018. It's a net neutral for the homeowner, but it provides stability for the district's financing and the district's cash flow so that we can go forward and issue the debt that we need necessary to complete the public improvements. I hope that's a clear answer. But
so as far as this sunsetting, the original $25 million sunsetting, as far as what the debt's going forward, the mill's been at, and then then going from $25 million to $43 million, you're just extending your debt out, correct?
Yeah, correct. We'll be as part of this package, we'll be refinancing that $25 million and rolling that into the larger amount.
Okay, so
that's exactly right.
Sorry. So would that extend the maturity date out?
Yes,
as well?
it would. Right now, the maturity is based on probably a 30-year bond issuance to pay off the total amount of debt. So it would extend the maturity time frame of the 25.
Was there any prior notification to the homeowners exactly what you're wanting to do, or this is the first time they're hearing about it?
That's a good question. I don't know what the publication rules are associated with that. I don't know, frankly. But this would be the first time we're having certainly a public hearing about it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Diaz.
Thanks for being here, Mr. Bush. Question for you. I know that you kind of mentioned just a little bit ago that you're finding, as you're talking to potential commercial developers, that the road conditions along 120th have not been ideal for bringing them along. Can you expand on that a little bit in terms of what you're hearing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, for example, we've been talking to multiple users. We have brokerage firms representing the commercial property that's owned by the landowners out there. Where we've been kind of falling down, frankly, is I have a fundamental philosophy: everything comes down to people. We would bring the local real estate decision maker out there. We would show them the level of activity that's occurring in an area. The traffic counts, many of you probably know, on 120th are, if not equal to, or just a little bit below 104th. So the actual activity that's occurring on 120th is just as active in terms of traffic counts and number of people that are having the visibility there as 104th. But they come out there, this is anecdotal obviously, but for example, we had a restaurant that was looking pretty aggressively at it, and they go to their regional real estate decision maker and the condition of the area up there. And I've had discussions with some of you way before we made this application about improving that intersection at Buckley Road, improving. That's really the gateway into Commerce City, how I look at it. That's kind of the northeastern edge of the new active Newlands area of Commerce City, and they look at the road condition out there, and they don't want to take the risk of bringing that forward and saying that, this area looks unimproved. It looks rural in nature, that road does, and they don't want to make that leap forward. I really can't take this to my corporate decision maker and bring them out here if they don't have the level of fabric in the community or the depth of knowledge that maybe that local real estate decision maker has, and they end up disappearing on us. We have a current gas station, convenience store going in, but we're looking to try to get inline going, maybe a dental care, medical office, all of those type of things, and we need to have an improved road edge to make people feel like it's more of a finished product.
So what can we do as a city to make it more appealing? Can you define finished product for us?
Well, getting a finished edge, like extending the pavement to its final configuration on the south. I don't know how familiar you are with the road cross-section for 120th, 160-foot right-of-way. It's 80 feet from the side of from the center line of the road. There's 2 lanes of pavement. There's A-cell, D-cell lanes. It's curb, I think all these numbers are 7-foot tree lawn, 12-foot walk, very similar to what we see along the finished edge of Chambers as well as 104th. So that's what we're looking to accomplish on the south side of 120th, and finish the pedestrian connectivity also too.
Okay. So incurring these additional debts will help expedite that process by building everything else out? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, well, I think what we're doing is we're preparing, some of our agreements with the city, is that these are landowner agreements, actually, not between the district's a party to them also too, but the city was ultimately responsible for the finishing off of 120th. We've been paying transportation impact fees, et cetera, et cetera. We've actually advanced a lot of funds as part of the district's partnered with the city before on the development of Chambers Road out there north from 112th up to 120th with the median, and our district partnered with the city and funded for about 50% of all those costs, maybe like 75% actually of those costs back in the early 2000s. So, the city, a big step would be approving the amendment tonight, because we want to go forward. We've already had discussions with Maria and Public Works. We're surveying all that area, utility. It's actually a pretty complex location. I'm kind of a little bit of the institutional memory out there. But there's utility conflicts out there with some of South Adams utilities. I think it's going to be a larger undertaking than a lot of people think it's going to be, but it's an important one that we want to get out in front of it, and that's a big portion of what kind of spurred on us asking for this service plan amendment. And we put a lot of money into the project at this juncture. Just to give you some more background also too, our last service plan amendment was in 2004. 13 years ago, when the cost of all the infrastructure, landscaping, water, all that is, if not doubled, if like 2.5 times what that was then. But the city's been a great partner with us on, and Maria and her staff on the improvements to that Buckley interchange. We want to make that even pop a little bit more, and that's the High Plains Parkway interchange also too. But that helps us expedite it. And at this juncture, Paulo, I think we just need to have a good partnership with us and Public Works going forward and really get a good design out there and our goal would be to work with city and staff over the spring and hopefully get into construction maybe late summer out there to get it done. Okay. And our district would advance those funds, and our citizens and within the community out there really want to see it done too.
Great. Excellent. I'm sure that we would too as a city. I think we all have some ideas in terms of out there. A couple more questions. That land that's just east of that the new park?
I'm sorry, what's that?
The land that's just east of the new park, the Villages Buffalo Run Park, that's dedicated to the school district. Is that correct?
Actually, the city owns a portion owns that remaining land out there, and it was dedicated to the city. And there's maybe I just stick to your question, but.
Oh, no, I was going to ask what's happening to that land right now.
Yeah, that's an 8-acre site that was part of a global negotiation or document that we executed with the city. I think it was either 2002 or 2000, where we lay out some of the obligations of the Villages at Buffalo Run East project. It was part of the construction of Stampede Park on the west side that was constructed by the district. It also has some obligations for us for some improvements for pedestrian connectivity over the O'Brien Canal to what's projected to be a large community regional trail. So it's tied to 4 or 5 elements, but the way that agreement reads between the landowners and the city is that when 80% of the single-family detached homes within the community are sold to third parties, this is kind of getting off the subject matter of what we're talking about, but I'm going to answer your question. There's a reversion provision to that. It's supposed to be dedicated at a later point in time by the city to 27J or sold by the city to 27J for an elementary school site. There's a revision provision in that document that says at a certain period of time when so much of the inventory in the project has been sold to third parties, the city would either need to dedicate that land back to the ownership group, and under the current zoning, the adjoining zoning, where the city would have 27J, have to work on an agreement with 27J, or the 27J has to be planning to build a school on there. So there's a revision agreement, and the city would otherwise have to pay the ownership, refresh my memory, pay the appraised value for that land to that ownership group, or dedicate the land back to that ownership group.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate the work that you do. I know that there's a whole lot of work, a lot of dirt moving there. So one last question, and this is one that my wife would want me to ask.
Okay.
That Shell station on 120th and Chambers, will it have a car wash?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Is that a question for Chris Kramer? I'm waiting to see if I get a thumbs up or not.
I can try to answer that.
Sure.
I'm the planner for that area. So we have 2 gas stations going in on the corner.
Northeast corner.
Northeast corner.
Right.
There's no car wash associated with that.
Southwest?
The southwest corner is going to be 7-Eleven and no car wash associated with that one.
Sounds good. So we'll just hope for a rainy day. All right. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate
That's
it.
not the answer I wanted to hear. Well, sorry about the convoluted answer relative to that document, but it's actually a document that I think we need to address in 2018 with staff also, too, that 2000 agreement with the town.
And that's what I was asking, was because I know that it had been a while since that was signed, and so I didn't know, at what point things change.
It's going to be an agenda item between us and staff and potentially in the council in 2018 also, too, because I think there's some of the things need to get worked out in that time.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Mr. Huseman.
Good evening. I had just a couple questions for you regarding the service plan that you guys submitted. On page 6, it says that the mill levy was not going to go up, but you just indicated because of Gallagher it's going to go up by 7 points. If this plan and additional debt had not been added to it, would the mill levy have gone down, stayed the same?
No, I can't speak specifically to that, but I'm quite certain our bond documents require us to Gallagherize.
Okay. Okay. You indicated, Councilman Douglas, that there hasn't been a public hearing on this. How many seats are on your Metro District Board?
Oh, good. I think there's 6.
And how many of those are filled?
Every one of them.
And are any homeowners on that?
There's no homeowners on the board.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for our staff or for the applicant at this time? One more.
Yeah.
Mr. Douglas.
Sorry about that. Just come to mind as far as the improvements, that also includes hard surface path on 120th Chambers on your property side. So with this increase, that would also finish those out as well, right?
Say that again?
As far as like the hard surface path, because right now it's a soft path on the east side of 120th and Chambers on that hard corner.
We would be constructing a sidewalk all the way. Boy, I keep hitting this thing. All the way from probably the western edge of
120th and Buckley.
Yeah, where the gas station's going
Okay.
in. That'll get all finished out. We'll construct that all the way to 120th and Buckley.
Okay.
So it'll be the sidewalk put in there, landscaping, et cetera.
All right.
All right. Anything else? Seeing none. Thank you.
And it is might add to and also on that eastern edge on Chambers Street. That's directly across from the commercial. But we'd wrap it around and tie it all the way into the current sidewalk going all the way up at Chambers Road.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. All right. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Open for motion. Mr. Teeter.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2017-122.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Will the city attorney please read the title?
Resolution 2017-122, resolution approving both the amended and restated Buffalo Ridge Metropolitan District Service Plan and the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Commerce City and the Buffalo Ridge Metropolitan District in case MD 10617.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Move on to Resolution 2017-129. I'd like to invite the staff forward to make their presentation, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. I'm Michelle Claymore. I'm the Economic Development Director for the city, and I'm joined by our Economic Development Manager, Michelle Fertig-Hill. We are here today to ask for your support of a business incentive request through Resolution 2017-129 for Revo. Business incentives are widely used by communities to help attract quality companies and/or projects. Basically, it's a coupon. Just as you may wait until that pair of shoes you really had your eye on is for sale before you purchase them, businesses rely on communities to help bring down their startup costs by offering business incentives at the start of a project. Commerce City's existing program was adopted in Thank you. Commerce City's existing program was adopted in 2014, and each incentive request is negotiated on a case-by-case basis, considering overall capital investment, job creation, and the benefit it brings to the community. The incentives are always performance-based and generated as rebates. So if a company does not meet the city's requirements for the incentive, they are not given the rebate. Staff works with a variety of community organizations and partners to meet the unique needs of every business that's considering a location in Commerce City. Local community incentives are needed often to match and support state and county incentives. So today we are here to talk about Arrivo, which is a company based in LA. And they are taking existing technology and taking a bunch of different existing technologies to develop a new mode of transportation. They are one of several companies working on a proof of concept project after Elon Musk presented his Hyperloop transportation concept and published his team's research. Arrivo is working closely with CDOT and the E470 Public Highway Authority to develop a test track for this new technology somewhere along E470. The group has identified a site in Commerce City at a former tolling booth just north of 88th Avenue and E470. This site is no longer actively being used by the E470 Tolling Authority, and Arrivo is proposing to lease the ground and some existing buildings that are on the site, but E470 will retain ownership. This is a great project. It could bring an estimated $10 million in new capital investment to Commerce City. $7.5 million for track equipment, testing rigs, and system vehicles. $1.5 million for facility construction and/or improvements to those existing buildings that are on the site, and then $1 million for track site development. A lot of engineers will be on site. They're expecting to create maybe up to 75 jobs over the next 3 years with average annual salaries of just under $100,000. That is really, really high-paying jobs for us in Commerce City. That's about double or over double of what our average salaries are right now. These are really good, high-paying jobs. This project would bring an estimated tax and fee collection to the city of about $390,000. And that's based on use tax and plan check fees. Based on the nature of this project and the significant number of high-paying jobs, the Economic Development Team is seeking support for an incentive package that is consisting of 60% rebate of the non-dedicated sales and or use tax associated with the capital investment. So it won't touch the 1% that's dedicated to the 2K projects. It would just be on the 3.5%. We're also asking for 50% rebate of the building permit and plan check fees, and together that total is estimated at about $182,000, which is about 2.5% of the overall capital investment that is being proposed by the company. This is an exciting project for Commerce City and has the potential to bring great benefit. First, it would help meet your council goals of developing a balanced and vibrant community by attracting new high-tech companies and diversifying the mix of existing companies that we have here in the city. Also, the company expects the site will receive a lot of visitors, both investors and engineers coming from all over the world. And we believe that this will support opportunities for new hotels, restaurants, and other commercial development in the area. There's also those 75 high-paying jobs over the next 3 years, or the first 3 years of the project. With us tonight is David Kellison, who is the project manager that will be working to set up this project here in the metro area. David, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Michelle. Mayor, council members, how's it going? My name is David Kellison. I work at Arrivo. We're based in Los Angeles. I head our real estate development and growth group and have had the pleasure of working with Commerce City over the last few months, selecting a test site, working with Colorado Department of Transportation and E470 to kind of come together and try and end traffic for everybody in Denver, and more specifically to Commerce City as well. I've seen the growth in populations that you guys have and think it's unfortunately getting just as bad as Los Angeles, not to telling you guys anything that you don't already know, but Arrivo is dedicated to using 21st century technology, not really anything that's different than what is out there right now. Really what's different is putting all these components together to make it economically viable. So the company's been dedicated to doing this for over a year now and are going to take the next step to kind of go from our component level testing in our office in Los Angeles to an actual full production system in Commerce City.
Great. Thank you.
David, if you want to say questions. So if you have any questions that staff or Mr. Kellison can answer, we're open for questions.
Does the council have any questions for the applicant or for our economic development staff at this time? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on this matter? Seeing no one, I'm open for a motion. Mr. Teeter.
I'd like to approve Resolution 2017-129.
Mr. Douglas.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2017-129. Will the city attorney please read the title?
Resolution 2017-129, resolution approving economic development business incentives for Arrivo.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Thank you for coming in tonight. Moving to ordinances on first reading, we have Ordinance 2150. I'd like to invite the staff forward to make their presentation.
Greetings, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
My name is Patrick Buckley. I'm the Working Community Development, manage the Building Safety Division and Neighborhood Services Division, for those of you who don't know me. This presentation is regarding adoption of the 2017 National Electric Code by the City of Commerce City. Maybe.
Who's that? It's $5.
I think it's the audience.
$5.
It's not working.
That's Brian.
Was that your phone, Brian? Are you sure? All right. All right. Let's try.
Is it here?
Frozen. I get you some help, but those kids already left that were using the toilets.
Look at that. All right.
We're getting somewhere.
All right. You thought you got a break, Mayor, but we'll push through.
Hey,
All right.
enough to get the code off.
If you have any questions during this presentation or afterwards, just please let me know.
Thanks.
The purpose of tonight is to review a little bit on the background of the National Electrical Code and to recommend to the council to consider adoption of the 2017 National Electrical Code. By way of background, I want to remind the council the electrical code is a state statute in Colorado, and the state of Colorado governs all things related to electrical permitting and inspection. In Colorado, we are expected as a local jurisdiction who conducts our own inspection and permitting program to adopt an electrical code as least as stringent as the state's code within 12 months, generally, of when the state adopts their code. And that's the purpose of this ordinance, is to bring forth that new electrical code. The State Electrical Board adopted the 2017 National Electrical Code at their January 2017 meeting. It went into effect on July 1st of this year, and likewise, we have prepared to put forward an ordinance to adopt the electrical code here locally. We are recommending adoption with a start date effective March 1st, 2018, with tonight being the ordinance first reading and the second reading and public hearing occurring on February 5th at the council meeting then. The reason we are recommending adoption of the 2017 electrical code is, again, to remain compliant with state statutes, but it's also very important for the city to stay current with its code adoptions remaining consistent with our competitors and surrounding jurisdictions. And of course, because the codes, while they are regulatory in nature, they also do recognize the latest advancements in the codes, code changes and technologies involved with wiring and equipment. Our job in steps towards adopting the code in community development is to make sure that we provide a smooth transition, making work predictable for our home builders and electrical contractors, primarily in residential home construction, are the most interested stakeholders in what the city's doing with our codes. And so it's very important that we give them time to adapt, time to build in pricing for any changes to the electrical codes, and to work with the local contractors and as well as the Denver HBA to keep them informed with our schedules, what the changes are, and what those items are that are coming out of the new code. There are hundreds and hundreds of changes to the electrical code every 3 years. Way too many to go into in a council meeting. But needless to say, there are a number of amendments, changes that, I shouldn't say amendments, changes to the code that affect residential home construction. Here's just a couple of changes that are kind of low-hanging fruit, kind of obvious. If you lived in a house for more than a year, you know probably what GFCI protection is as it relates to electrical circuits. There are expanded locations throughout dwellings that require protection. The code has been expanding those changes over the last several code change cycles, and they've kept at it in this code change cycle. They've also now required, for you tool time guys out here, they've also now required a 20 amp circuit in garages, and that's in recognition, of course, of all the equipment and tools and things that are going, people are using their garages for and so forth. And so that is an example of a change that will affect home builders, home construction. In addition, there are a lot of changes to the solar system requirements. Largely, most of those changes come about as part of the fire service putting forth code provisions that protect first responders, people that arrive on scene and have to deal with photovoltaic systems, the solar systems in housing. And one of the last items here is the expanded location of AFCI protection. That's something that has appeared in the code in the last decade. That's arc fault circuit interrupter protection. Those two are expanding throughout dwelling construction. And so these are some examples of the kind of changes that come forth that affect the prices of homes, the bids that electrical contractors put forth, and similar. There are a lot of changes, but again, these are just some examples of some similar, simple changes that affect the home building industry. With your package, you should have received this presentation, some expanded information on the 2017 National Electric Code changes, as well as a little bit of background and summary from community development. So I'm able to answer any questions or provide any information that you may need.
Thank you, Patrick. Any questions or comments for Patrick Buckley? Mr. Teeter.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley, for the presentation tonight. I was just kind of curious how many electrical inspectors do we have? And if we got that number, are they all up to speed with this new qualification?
Yes, they are. They've been at this now for about 6 to 9 months. They got new code books earlier this year and have had their nose in them, making sure they understand the changes. We have 2 electrical inspectors full-time for the city, and they split their duties pretty evenly for both non-residential and residential installations. In order for them to be able to articulate the changes and have good communications with the electrical contractors, they need to be aware not only what the code says, but what the state electrical board, how they view implementation of those changes and enforcement, as well as what our surrounding jurisdictions are doing. Several jurisdictions have already adopted the 2017 NEC, and so they're ahead of us. And so there's a good exchange of information between inspector meetings, a business on site, meaning communications with contractors in the field at time of inspection, during their electrical inspector meetings and so forth. They all kind of walk the same walk, talk the same talk, being all licensed electricians. And so they've been speaking about this and talking with the electrical contractors for several months now. Again, so there's no surprises. And most importantly, we want to provide them a good start date. That's March 1st, so that we can give time for home builders to make the changes necessary to their pricing and so forth.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one. Thank you. I'm open for a motion. Oh, well, let me ask. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak on this item? Seeing none. I'm open for a motion. Mr. Douglas.
So moved.
Mr. Diaz.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2150. Will the city attorney please read the title?
Ordinance 2150, an ordinance amending Section 5-4500 of the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code to adopt the 2017 National Electric Code and repealing and reenacting sections of the 2006 International Code Council electrical administrative provisions.
Thank you. I'll ask for a roll call vote. For the record, City Council has introduced ordinance 2150 unanimously this evening. Moving to Administrative Council business. Does anyone on the council have any Administrative Council business they'd like to bring forward? Do you have one?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Douglas.
Yes, thank you. Get my stuff together here. Brian, I know in the past in our city manager updates, it noted permits that were pulled and economic development's coming in, and I've had several people ask me, why don't we still continue to publish that? So because they see dirt turning and all that, and sometimes there'll be signs that show a true address, but nothing indicate what's coming in, unless we're told here at the dais or they find out later in the paper.
If I might ask a clarifying question, we've in the past published two types of information. One was a more narrative report of types of permits issued, and another was just purely data, numbers of permits, both with staff changes in community development and the volume of activity. We've not been publishing those, but which one in particular were you interested in?
Sorry about that, clarify. What's been pulled as far as permit? The permitting process, like if actual permit was pulled to build, to construct, say for instance, those two daycares, the one that was a work stoppage, there was no indication of what exactly was going on because there was no permit that was pulled, actually no permit that was issued.
Right.
So I would say the permits that were actually issued, not the ones that are inquiring, because those are for sure things, but at least the ones that are for sure, and they actually pull a permit and they are looking to construct.
Let me do some checking with staff and see what resources would be necessary to return to publishing that update. Again, the challenge for us was the volume of activity and some staff turnover. Combination of those two things, we stopped publishing it. Let me do some checking with staff and see what it would take for us to publish it again.
Okay. And the other thing too, I know there's in the works the bridge connection from Buckley Ranch subdivision over to Stewart Middle School. I saw the plans for that, and if we could put a link on the website as far as where that project is, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah, Mr. McBroom.
Mayor Ford, we had two items to bring up to council tonight. One is, in the month of January, there is no regular meeting scheduled on the calendar because of holidays. There are two study sessions on the calendar, January 8th and January 22nd.
Our suggestion is to schedule January 22nd as a special meeting in case there's business that we might need council to conduct before the February 5th meeting. Additionally, back in August when City Council did the city manager and the city attorney evaluations, council expressed interest in getting back on a January cycle for doing our performance evaluations. So we would also suggest adding our performance evaluations to that special meeting on January 22nd also.
Great. Thank you.
And that would take an action of council.
Yep. So is the council prepared to make a motion to change our study session on the 22nd of January to a special meeting to take care of some business up to and including getting the evaluation process started for the city manager and the city attorney? Mr. Teeter.
So moved.
Mr. Huseman.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to do just that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. I do want to make a note, remind everybody that when we get into this evaluation process, a couple of things. Makes it very difficult for the 4 new council members to evaluate the past performance of the city attorney and the city manager. You will be given self-evaluations that both the city manager and the attorney will fill out, and we'll give you some background information. Just do the best you can, and if you need any additional advice, please reach out to one of the seated council members for that advice. Secondly, I think it's important for all 9 of us to be diligent about making sure we get these evaluations filled out promptly so that we can do our part and move the ball ahead and get the evaluations done in a timely manner as we specified in our council objectives. All right. I do have one other item I want to bring up. This is something that has been hanging out there for a long time, and I want to try to get to some resolve, and it's Brighton Boulevard between 104th and 120th Avenue. Brighton Road happens to be annexed to the city of Commerce City. It also happens to be a very more rural or community road for the folks that live over there, none of which live in the city of Commerce City. So it makes it very hard for a city council to, when we have needs for road improvements, to improve roads that don't directly benefit our residents. That road was annexed many years ago by a previous mayor and council. That was intended to be able to surround areas, to do forced annexation type of efforts before we worked with Dr. Cog and had growth boundaries and all the sprawl rules that you can't have sprawl. And so therefore it's put us in a bad position because there are residents of unincorporated Adams County that abut this road that deserve services, and we are not providing those services. And we need to decide if we're going to provide those services and keep that road and make the necessary improvements, or if we want to work with the county. We have the ability to de-annex that road and give it back to the county. However, I think that we need to work with the county and see how we work together to make that transition happen. We also have needs from the county to help us with paving project on 112th Avenue along Columbine Ranches between Chambers and Tower on 112th. And so we know that they have improvements that are necessary that the county pay for when we try to get 112th done, which I think also we need to be working to get that paving project done as well. That paving project, we will have to come up with funds on how we're going to pay for that project, as well as what we're going to do with Brighton Road. Now, I have a couple of things I'd like to ask the council. I'd like to ask the council to support me in requesting that staff look into and bring back some pros and cons and opportunities for us to have a discussion in a study session concerning Brighton Road and the de-annexation of that road. I also would like the council to support me in directing staff to have some of our pavement maintenance guys go out and do some maintenance on Brighton Road. pothole repair, shoulder edges, and things of that nature without doing major construction, but to at least get the road drivable and put in the effort to provide the services that we have been lacking for so many years. I know I see it on Facebook a lot. The residents are frustrated because they can't reach out to the county, can't do anything about it because it's in our jurisdiction. We're not doing anything about it because we don't feel like it's in our jurisdiction, and it's this road that we have no business even having. So I want to try to get this resolved because we're standing in the way of residents getting service from the folks that need to be providing that service. So that would be my request, direction of maintenance on Brighton Road, also direction of a discussion in a study session with pros and cons and alternatives for the council to consider. Is there a motion in that regard? Mr. Teeter.
Yes, I agree 100% with your motion, Mayor. And would that motion be like to maybe swap 112th with Brighton Road?
You know, I think there's opportunity to talk to the county about how we can take care of some of their interests in one area of Commerce City versus them taking over some of our efforts by considering de-annexing Brighton Road. I think it has to be some give and take. I don't think it's fair for the commissioners to have this thrown in their lap after a lack of maintenance. That's why I'm asking for maintenance on the road, but to also have a collaborative discussion about where we go from here. I don't know what that may be. I don't want to determine that tonight. I just want to make sure we throw it in the staff's lap to be able to come back with some alternatives for discussion. And also I want to make sure that we are having staff reach out to the administrative staff of the county to have appropriate discussions to make sure we try to get this resolved. It's been years and years, and I keep getting tired of seeing it resurface, and we should have dealt with this a long time ago, and I want to get it taken care of. So that's my request. Are you going to make a motion, Mr.
Yes, I would love to make a motion on this subject for a study session.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas?
Second. I got one more thing, too.
I have a motion and a second to allow for that to happen. I think that's what I have. Brian, did you have something to add? All right. Steve?
Yes, I wanted to ask the council.
Mayor Ford?
Yes, sir.
You didn't actually vote on that motion yet.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Jesus, is that the parliamentarian taking notes over there? That's good. He's on vacation. He comes back and he's sharp as a nail. Keep it up. All right. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you. I was going to ask if we could maybe in January do a study session on construction, home construction. Maybe bring that on the table for our new council coming in. This would be like for the dog track, new development that's coming into Commerce City, residential, present and future. If we can put in a study session as far as the makeup of where we're at with the building, the construction of materials that coincide with construction of residential property.
Councilman Douglas, we tentatively planned a study session agenda item on February 22nd to give new council members and continuing council members a fairly broad update on development in general, including development review, economic development. We can absolutely add this to that discussion that night, if that would be okay?
Yes.
Sorry. February 12th. February 12th. Sorry. February 12th. And in that way, our other suggestion, though we hadn't necessarily planned to discuss it tonight, is potentially have a city council retreat at the end of February. The thinking is an overview of the wide range of development issues in the community would be beneficial to the entire council, especially newer council members, before the retreat at the end of February.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move into the last item on council administrative business. This one is going to take a little time. Everybody does have their boards and committees for city council appointment sheets in front of them, correct?
Correct.
All right. This is going to be an interactive form of council administrative business. I'm going to go through each one, and we're going to take nominations for members that have an interest in changing. So the way this has normally worked is if we have, I will just take, like, for example, Board of Adjustment. We know Andrew went off. Andrew was our representative that served on the Board of, no, I'm sorry, Board of Adjustment. We have Amador on there. Yes, I'm right. I was thinking Planning Commission. Board of Adjustment, Amador served on. If Amador wasn't the member and Douglas was, the way this normally works is I would say, Mr. Douglas, do you still want to be the member of the Board of Adjustment? And if he said, yeah, I do, then I would ask, is there anybody else that wants to challenge Mr. Douglas for that position that has an interest in serving on that? And then council would vote to either allow Mr. Douglas to stay on or to allow for someone else to take Mr. Douglas's place. Normally in past practice, if that member has been doing an adequate job, doesn't want to change, we usually leave them on. However, it doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity to speak up and say that you'd like to have an interest. We also allow for, and keep in mind, opportunity for an alternate on a lot of these boards and commissions. So with that said, we'll get started. If there's an area that you want to participate, then you need to make sure I have your attention, and we'll make sure that we get some nominations out, and we'll move forward to place somebody on that particular board or commission. So we're going to start with Board of Adjustments. Amador was the member. Currently, that seat is vacant, and we do not have an alternate, nor do we want to have an alternate for Board of Adjustment. So I am open for nominations. Mr. Huseman would like to serve on the Board of Adjustment. Is there anyone else that has an interest to serve on the Board of Adjustment? Saying no, then is everybody okay with appointing Mr. Huseman to the Board of Adjustment? Any concerns? Perfect. And,
Mayor Ford?
Yes,
just
sir.
One suggestion. This is a very good way to do it, and then what we'll do at the end is review what we've jotted down as all of the commitments that folks has made, and then we'll have council
authorize it all at one time.
Take an action to authorize all of them.
All right. I just want to ask before I move on to the next one, because if there's someone else that has an interest or if there's a concern with somebody that wants to serve on it, we need to get it knocked out before we move on. Next is Derby Review Board. Teeter serves on that. Mr. Teeter, is that something you'd like to continue to serve on?
Yes, Mayor, I would.
Is there anyone else who would like to serve on? And we do not have an alternate for that, but is there anyone else who has an interest in serving on the Derby Review Board? Seeing none, we'll leave, if everybody's okay with it. If anybody has a concern, now's the time to speak. We'll leave Rick on the Derby Review Board. Okay. Parks Recreation Advisory Committee. We have member 1 is Carson, and the alternate or member 2 as Douglas. So first I would ask, that leaves an open seat. Mr. Douglas, do you have an interest in moving to the number 1 slot of the Parks and Recreation Advisory?
Sure.
Is there anyone who has interest in also serving on the Parks and Rec Advisory? Councilwoman Elliott. Is there anyone else who has an interest in serving on the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee? Well, it makes it easy. Seeing no one else, is everybody comfortable with it being Crystal and Steve? Or Steve and Crystal? All right, we're moving on. Police Pension Board is Douglas. Mr. Douglas, do you want to continue on with the Police Pension Board?
Yes.
Does anybody else have an interest in serving on the Police Pension Board? And I would like to also point out that that board meets not very often. What is it? Is it even quarterly?
Yeah, it's quarterly.
At this point in time? Yeah, quarterly. If everybody's comfortable with that, we'll leave Mr. Douglas on Police Pension Board.
Mr. Mayor, we have an alternate there. You want to leave it?
We have an alternate Teeter, you want to continue to be the alternate, Mr. Teeter?
I think we got some very people here that are very capable of helping Steve on this board, besides for me, that understand figures. So this
Okay.
might be a place for our figureheads to step up.
All right, so is there any, now we have to fill an empty spot that Mr. Teeter is willing to vacate for the alternate position of the Police Pension Board. Anybody have an interest? All right, we'll go with Mr. Madera. Is everybody okay with that? Is there any other interest? Seeing none, we'll go with Oscar. All right, Senior Commission. That was Carson and Teeter. Mr. Teeter, do you have an interest in staying on that board?
Yes, I have, Mayor.
Okay. We do have an opening. Is there any interest for one of the council members to serve?
This is a monthly meeting.
On the Senior Commission. It is a monthly meeting. And when do they meet, Rick? 3 p.m.?
Right now, we're meeting at 3 to 5 o'clock in the
3 to 5
afternoon.
o'clock on the second Tuesday. Is there any interest of anyone serving on the Senior Commission? You know, this is where it gets tough, because this is where we have to appoint somebody that doesn't want to be appointed. So, thank you, Paulo, because that's what I was looking for.
There you go.
Yeah, you like George, so
Yeah.
we'll put you on there. So if anybody has any problems, we'll surely change that around. It doesn't seem like it. All right, Youth Commission. That was Bullock and Carson. And so we have 2 empty seats on the Youth Commission. It looks like Nicole has an interest, and it looks like Jose has an interest. Anybody else have an interest? Oscar has an interest. Anybody else? All right, so now I have 3 people that have an interest in the Youth Commission. Nicole, Oscar, and Jose. Does anybody want to let someone else serve, or do you want to go to a vote? Because I'll take it to a vote. Oscar? You're going to bow out? Let Jose and Nicole do that? Anybody else have any concerns or interest in that board? All right, moving forward, that's Nicole and Jose. And that's the Youth Commission, right? Okay. All right, now we go to the city-affiliated boards and commissions. Commerce City Cultural Council. We have Elliott and Carson. Councilwoman Elliott, do you want to stay on that board? Okay, and we have an open seat for Carson. Nicole has an interest. Jose has an interest. Anybody else have an interest? Oh, is that why? All right, so we have Jose and Nicole and Elliott. Do you guys want to work that out between you, or do you want me to take this to a vote? You want to bow down and let Jose do it? All right, so it's going to be Jose and Elliott. Is everybody okay with that? Now, I'm trying to move through these because there are a lot of them. If you do have a concern, you have to speak now or forever hold your peace. So make sure that if it's something you really want to be on, then bring it up. Stand your ground, I guess. Housing Authority. That was Mr. Bullock, and the alternate was Amador. We do have 2 seats available there. All right, I got Benjamin, and I've got Mr. Douglas, and I've got Oscar. All right, so we have a seat for the regular member and a seat for the alternate. I have 3 people that have an interest in serving. We can take this to a vote if you guys would like, and you'll see how that works. So, let's see. How's the best way to vote for these? Yeah, so out of the 3, does anybody want the alternate seat, or all 3 want the member seat? Oscar? You'd take the alternate. How about you, Mr. Huseman? You bow out? And Mr. Douglas, you want the alternate seat?
I'll take the regular seat.
You want the regular seat. Is everybody okay with that? Trust me, you'll have plenty of opportunity to serve, because I can tell you right now, Steve can't serve on all of it.
And I'm sorry, I didn't
he knows
hear.
that.
And I
He
didn't hear,
knows
what was
it.
Mr. Huseman?
He's trying.
What was Mr. Huseman?
Mr. Huseman bowed out.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Douglas would be the regular member, and Mr. Madera would be the alternate member for the Housing Authority. Next, Retreat Planning Committee. We had McEldowney and Bullock, Douglas and Elliott. This is something you work on here with our staff. It's to help set up and organize the retreats. Councilwoman Elliott, yes. Jose, yes. Anyone else? I need 4. Steve,
Yes, I'm still on it.
Oscar. Anyone else? We can have more or less. It don't matter. Rick wants to be on it. So there's 5. I'm going to put all 5 of those on the planning retreat planning committee. Douglas, Elliott, Teeter, Jose, and Oscar. Right? That's the 5. All right, that gives us a good planning retreat committee. All right, we have the city manager, city attorney, and municipal court judge evaluation committee. It's usually a smaller group of council members that work on the city manager and city attorney evaluations, and really that is just to get the information disseminated and brought back, and they're the council members that are going to call you and say, hey, how come you haven't filled out your evaluation yet? I've got Elliot, I've got Jose, I've got Nicole. Is there any others? If everybody's okay, we'll put all 3 of them on that. Is that good?
Just a comment. The reason we had it listed in yellow is the last several years, they haven't actually met as a
Right.
committee since we've had a little better structure around the process of doing the evaluations. So likely there wouldn't be a meeting of the committee unless the group wants to meet as a committee and suggest changes to the process or to the evaluation form.
Well, and you know what? Instead of setting this committee up right now, because it's been that scenario, I would like to ask the council to allow for this committee to sit on hold without any members as of right now. We're getting ready to go into the evaluation process. We have 4 new members. When we go through this process, if there are concerns about how this process works or things that need to be changed, I am all for reinstating this committee and putting those members on that committee, because you are going to eat up all your time tonight with these boards and commissions. So if everybody's okay with that, we'll put it on hold, go through the process. If there are concerns, we need to bring those concerns up during a study session and make sure that we address putting the committee back together to make appropriate changes if necessary. Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yep.
All right, and moving forward. We have the Boards and Commissions Committee, which is what we do is those folks that interview to serve on the Boards and Commissions come in and meet with a select a group of council members prior to our council meetings and study sessions, and you interview, and most of you have been through that interview process, and you then ask 5 questions and
be available at 5 o'clock.
And yeah, you have to be available at 5 o'clock to do that.
Oh, well, now we talked to Michelle. She said that we can change that. We want to do it on Saturday morning.
Right, yeah, if the committee, yeah, that's up to the committee. But right now, it's been slated at 5 o'clock on Mondays. Nicole, you want to serve on that? And this one's unlimited, so I'm not going to kick anybody off. All right, Jose wants to serve on it. Benjamin wants to serve on it. Steve wants to serve on it. Rick wants to be on there twice.
That's right, I'll be an alternate. I will jump in if somebody
Yes,
can.
he will. So if you'll put them down, please. Because that's extremely important, because there's a lot of times there's one council member sitting in that room interviewing stacks of people to serve on committees. And it's unfortunate, but we need as much support for that committee as we can get. Legislative Committee. That's Ford, Bullock, and Douglas. I want to continue to do that. Anyone else want to be on that? Steve, you're on it. You want to stay on it? Rick, you want to be on it? This is a committee where Michelle comes in, brings in our lobbyists, and goes over legislation activity that's currently going on through the State House or through the federal government, so that we can take position for the city, whether we're supportive of or against or neutral on an item that's going to be heard on the floor of the House or the Senate. So if you want to serve on that, it's before council meetings. Usually starts around 5:30. We get a half hour, 45-minute brief on legislative activities, and then we go into our study sessions or council meetings. Crystal? Yeah, you did.
So I would like to continue, but just a little bit of a time crunch.
Right. Well, and the thing I would tell the whole council, every single member of council is welcome to attend, all right, and participate. But we try to set up the committee to try to force those people who sign up to be active. So please, if you're not signed up on the committee, please take the time, if you're here early, to come in early, whatever, and to participate and see what it's about, because it's some important litigation or legislation that will be affecting our community. All right, you guys got that one down there? Fort Douglas Teeter. Crystal wants to come when she can. She's under a time crunch. Huseman will come.
Okay.
All of them are welcome. Adams County Economic Development. This has been me and Mr. Teeter. This last year, I have been serving as the ACED Executive Committee member for the Adams County Mayors Association, and the Adams County Mayors place one mayor on the executive committee, and we meet separate from the total board. This would be for the board. The new mayor member for the executive committee is going to be Daniel Dick from Federal Heights. And my time's pretty restricted, so I do not want to serve on the Adams County Board of Economic Development. I would look to Mr. Teeter. Do you something you want to stay on?
I can do that, yeah.
Okay, I need a member and an alternate. So is there any other interest in ACD? Paulo Diaz, do you want to be the alternate? Let Rick be the member? Does anybody else have an interest? All right, staff have that one down? Okay. Moving on. Now, what's green mean? That's that's Rick. So here's the thing: we have the Adams County Executive Committee breakfast. That's for mayors and managers that meet on a monthly basis on the third Friday at 7:30 a.m. And it always is conflicting for me. So I would have Renee attend that with Mr. McBroom, and since Rick is the mayor pro tem, it would be appropriate for him to take my place and attend those the mayor managers meetings.
We were just there Friday.
Yep, I know you were, and you enjoyed every minute of it too, didn't you?
Yep.
The reason it varies. It alternates, and when we have it in Commerce City, I do my best to show up to represent our city. But sometimes it's in Arvada, sometimes it's in North Glen, Westminster, Thornton, wherever. So Fridays are a very tough morning for me. So I will look to my mayor pro tem to back me up. So that's why it's green.
The other quick point of clarification: green items are ones that weren't on the last time we published the list. Yellows mean there needs to be some discussion to see if it needs to stay on the list, if this group or committee still actually meets. So green just means it's new.
All right, we have Adams County Water Quality Advisory, and the reason that's yellow is because this council has put together a water commission. So we meet with the water commission on a it's every fifth Monday, I believe, or every the week of a Monday. What is it? It's I don't know. It's not quite monthly. It's like every. Is it quarterly? Is that what it is? Quarterly. All right. So anyway, because of that, we haven't had water quality committees meeting. The Water Commission has been handling water quality discussions. So. That's why it's yellow, and if the council doesn't have any problem, because I don't believe would be meeting anyway, it's kind of a dead group, that we scratch that one off the list. That's why it's yellow. Adams 14 Foundation, The foundation promotes and assists the development of financing and acquisition of the educational facilities and improvements that benefit the residents and patrons of the district. We had Amador and Bullock on there. The foundation is different than the school district, and that's important to note because the foundation is out there raising money for different type of services that work in District 14.
For scholarships.
Scholarships and stuff, yeah. And Dale Mingleton is the president of the foundation, also serves on Rotary. So who would like to serve? I have two openings, so I need two members, and a member and an alternate. Amador was the member, Bullock is the alternate. Okay, Oscar, you want to be the member? Anyone else? Jose, you want to be the member or the alternate? You'll be the alternate? One member and an alternate. Okay, so we have Oscar as the member and Jose as the alternate. Airport Coordinating Committee, that's in green because that has been a touchy, as most of you know, has been a very touchy board. That's one that I currently serve on and feel that I need to continue serving on. Rick has also been serving on that with me. You want to continue to serve on that, Rick?
Yes, Mayor.
All right. Is there anybody else who has an interest in serving on that? Otherwise, me and Rick will continue to serve. Seeing none, we'll keep doing that. And that one's kind of iffy right now because we do have members that are changing over. Aurora will have a new member. Thornton will have 2 new members. Brighton will have at least 1 new member. So it's in a state of flux. And after our executive session last Friday, you guys can kind of see what we're up against in that particular meeting. CML Policy Committee was Bullock as the member and Douglas as the alternate. It's Colorado Municipal League, pretty active. They meet 2 to 3 times a year. They're dealing with legislative matters that have effect on municipalities. Mr. Douglas?
I would like to move from the alternate to the regular member.
Okay, is there anyone else who has an interest in CML? Paulo, you want to be the alternate? All right, Steve will be the member. Paulo will be the alternate. If there's any concern or issues or desires, please let me know. CCBPA. Mr. Teeter, you want to stay on that?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilwoman Elliott, you want to stay the alternate? You going to step down? Okay. Is there anyone who has an interest in serving as an alternate on the CCBPA? That is the local organization that we do a golf tournament, and they get businesses together and get them to join the BPA and provide services to our businesses, help them with interaction with the city.
They also interact with Eagle Street.
Yep, they do.
Winterfest.
Eagle Street, Winterfest, they participate a lot in our community, so if there's any interest, we do need an alternate. Okay, Jose? Put Jose down as the alternate. Commerce City Chamber of Commerce. And that one's green, and I'm not seeing any members. Brian?
It's new. We hadn't had it on the list in the past, so these would be brand-new appointments for the first time.
Gotcha. And the chamber now is up to speed and active. Is there anyone who has an interest in serving on the Commerce City Chamber of Commerce? Nicole? Anyone else? Nicole will. Put her down. And we, I don't know, I would imagine we have opportunity for an alternate on that board as well. Anyone want to be an alternate to the Chamber of Commerce? Benjamin. Anyone else? All right, Benjamin and Nicole. All right, DIA Noise Coordinating Committee, and that's in yellow because that committee doesn't actively meet because we have the ACC. This is a I served on a noise committee, and it was the international committee. Those meetings, and I believe still do meet regularly at CML. So when we have the CML conference and we're out of state, usually the noise committees would meet.
Oh, NLC.
That's actually further down the
NLC.
list.
Oh, okay, so this
Listed
isn't that, this is
separately.
DIA. So this one isn't meeting anymore because of the ACC, correct? All right, so we'll leave that one alone since it's yellow. All right, Dr. Cog. Currently, Teeter's the member. You want to stay on that?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, I need an alternate. The alternate was Bullock, and I thought it was you, Steve.
No, it was Renee.
It was Renee. So then Dr. Cog is the organization that decides federal funding for transportation projects for the state of Colorado. So Rick wants to continue as a member. Is there any other persons that would like to be the member or an alternate? Steve?
Alternate.
Anyone else? Transportation at the state level? No. Benjamin wants to also. Anyone else want to serve as a member or the alternate? So Rick wants to stay the member. We need an alternate. I have Steve and Benjamin. You guys want to work that out, or you want me to vote?
You can have the alternate.
All right. So Benjamin will be the alternate for Dr. Cobb.
Just so you know, if you'd like to go, we're meeting Wednesday.
Yep, Wednesday. And Rick is a very good Dr. Cog member. He goes every meeting, and regionally I hear accolades about the fact that Commerce City's at the table. So you want to learn something about transportation. It's important. And just so you all remember, you need to note that a lot of the members up here are only on here for 2 years. And that's important that we have some of the new members being alternates and participating and going to a meeting now and then so that you can get acclimated, so that you can take over without there being a hiccup or a lack of participation on Commerce City's end. So we got Dr. Cog. All right, then we have Dr. Cog, MetroVision Issues Committee. That's you as well, Teeter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to also participate in that? Benjamin, it kind of makes sense for both members to continue down that path. Anybody have any concerns with that? E470 Highway Authority. Douglas is the member. Diaz is the alternate. Where do you stand on that? Mr. $1 Million in the last week?
Mr. $1 Million man. I think
you want to stay,
You
Diaz?
deserve to stay another year.
You want to be the alternate, or you want to give it up and give someone else?
Yeah.
You're in. Anybody else have an interest in E470? Remember, E470 is the one that goes out of country once every 4 years.
It hasn't happened.
Where's it going, Steve? The next one?
Baltimore.
No, out of country.
I don't know.
You don't know. You ain't been on it long enough.
No.
Well, you've been on 2 years?
Yeah.
So Baltimore will be next. Then you'll probably be in Iraq or Afghanistan.
North Korea.
Checking out the highways.
Maybe North Korea.
North Korea. All right. I couldn't help but throw that one out there. All right. This yellow one is bugging me that it's yellow, number one. The U.S. 85 Planning and Environmental Linkage PEL Study Executive Committee. Is that the Highway 85 Authority, or is it different?
This is just the CDOT Planning and Environmental Linkage Study. As I understand, the study has run its course, and so this group is no longer meeting.
All right, because the Highway 85 one, I think we need to be much more active in.
Yeah, that's a different group, and to be honest, I'm not sure we have...
I don't know it's on the list, but
I don't see it.
I want to make sure, because we haven't been getting notified of those meetings unless my mayor friend in Fort Lupton tells me, and now he's a council member and not a mayor. And
we'll need to...
we are getting spanked by Weld County if we don't participate. I'm worried.
We'll need to research that and add that to the list. It's not on here.
Would you please? You know that's been one of my
Right.
hot buttons. Thank you.
So we will take this item off, though.
All right. Metro Mayor's Caucus. And that is one of those that is just set aside for mayors. And,
You gonna do that, Sean?
would you? Yeah, I would tell you right now, Ben, you're about to go. I have to tell you, that is one that I have worked hard to try to make it to those meetings. But unfortunately, I drive a one-ton dually, and you have to go downtown in the morning to go to these meetings, and it's where Paulo works, right, Paulo?
Correct.
And can you imagine parking a one-ton dually?
On my own parking spot, so.
No, it wouldn't fit. I could just tell you already, there isn't a parking spot in Denver that fits. So if I have another car, I'll go. Sometimes I ride with Michelle. But that's one that I will continue to do. It's expected of me. And we just had the Metro Mayor's reception the other night I was at, and we do have the Metro Mayors will be doing their annual get-together to start the year off after the first of the year. Noise, that's the one I was talking about. National organization to ensure a sound environment. That has been Bullock and Elliott. I don't know, Crystal, have you been to any of those? We were very active years ago. I did go to several meetings out of town for noise. Would travel once a year. Now they meet only at NLCs.
March and November.
March and November. But I did go, we would go to different airports. So I went to Eagan, Minnesota, looked at the airports there and noise issues. Because we are affected by noise and how noise affects other communities similar to ours. However, they don't have that meeting where they travel once a year to a different location. They do meet March and November. That would be when we're out of town in Washington, D.C., or in the rotating November meeting for NLC. It is a good organization to get your feet wet in. And I'm open for membership because Bullock, Elliott, do you want to continue on that? Do you plan on going to the NLCs spring and fall? So if you plan on going to the NLC conventions, that's when the meetings will be. Paulo, you want to serve?
I'm definitely interested.
Anyone else? No one else?
Mayor Ford, I don't know that we need a member and an alternate.
I don't
I think
either.
it's really
I don't either,
voluntary. So if Paula would like to be the
Right.
primary, that's fine.
Yep, put Paulo down on it. Northern Area Transportation Alliance. And you guys can take my spot and I'll step off of that. Right, Rick? Nada? You're supposed to say, no, you can't.
No, you can't because you're now in charge, vice
Yeah.
president next year.
Exactly. So that's something that me and Rick serve on. And this last meeting, I was just elected as vice chair. So I will have to remain on the Northern Area Transportation Alliance. Rick, is that something you want to continue to do?
Yes, Mayor.
Is there anybody else that has an interest in NADA? They meet 7:30 a.m. on the fourth Thursday. Right. Well, we could bring you back information. It is a tough meeting to catch because 7:30 a.m. at 120th and Pecos at the Adams County facility.
Mayor Ford, can other council members attend just to
They can
observe?
attend, and there's only one voting member. So with me and Rick, Rick is the alternate. He doesn't even get a vote, but he's there to back me up. And we talk about, so Dr. Cog is statewide transportation. Northern Area Transit Alliance, NADA, is the northern area which covers Adams County and some of Weld, Erie, Firestone, Frederick. A lot of it's I-25 managed lanes. We also have a process of identifying projects. We're in that process right now. 270 is probably Commerce City's #1 project identified. 56th Avenue and Highway 85, 270 and Highway 85, 60th and 85. Those are the bigger projects that are on in the queue. Moving on. We need to get rid of Northern Community Coalition. Anybody have a problem getting rid of that? So the NCC is something that Teeter and Elliott were on. They just don't meet. It had to do with the Arsenal cleanup. And since we are way past the cleanup and into recovery, they just don't meet anymore.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to do it if they met, but they don't meet.
They don't meet. All right. Rotary happens to be one of my favorite committees to serve on. Whoever serves on it will enjoy the participation, but you also have to be somewhat flexible because it is every week on Wednesday at noon at El Jardín Restaurant. I want to maintain my membership. Matter of fact, I think I need to. I'm going to be the president of Commerce City Rotary next week or next year.
Really?
Yeah. So Renee was the president of Rotary last year. This year is Rhonda Worth. Next year, I'm the president-elect this year, so I'll be the president next year. However, we do have opportunities for two other members. We had Bullock and Elliott. Crystal, is this something you want to do? Okay. Yeah, I know it's tough. It's every week on Wednesday at noon. And it's all business leaders in the community. So does anybody else have an interest in being a Rotarian? Benjamin, anyone else? We have 2 seats available if the council wants to fill all 3. No one else? All right. Benjamin and Sean. You won't regret it. You'll like that committee. Yeah. RTD, it looks like that one needs to go away. It's an elected board. They do have they'll send out regular invites to updates for RTD. I'll tell you, this city was ready to pull out of RTD a few years back. We were very unsatisfied with what we were getting. And then they came around and decided to fund the light rail, and we got more engaged. And now the light rail, we were at NADA. What are they looking at now?
2020.
2020, my guess is 2022. It was supposed to be under testing in 2017, open in 2018. Yeah. And literally they're looking at 2020. And I'm telling you, with the lack of funding for RTD right now, I think you can see that pushed out even more. So we won't see the completion of that, and even the new people might not through their first term. So we need to let that one can go away because they just don't meet. But you will get invites if you want to go to an elected officials briefing for RTD, and then you can decide at that time if it's something you can make or not make. And they're usually, most of them that I've been at are at Thornton Rec Center, at the Carpenter facility. School District 27J Facility Fee Foundation. That was McEldowney. Someone want to fill that? Paulo Diaz. Anybody else?
I knew you.
Jose Guardiola. It's a unique public-private partnership to develop financing acquisition of educational facilities improvements to benefit the residents and patrons of the district. That was right up Jason's alley. And they meet monthly at 2 p.m. on the 3rd Friday. Are you sure? I want to make sure. All right. Then we'll give it to Paulo. Jason would be proud filling those shoes there, Paulo. Second Creek Regional Greenway Board of Directors, one of Renee's favorite boards. I think he was a member since its inception. They work on projects like cleaning up and doing trail work along Sand Creek over here by Sapp Brothers, and we have quite a section of Sand Creek, but you'd be on the entire Sand Creek group that goes on down into Aurora, down by Emmeline's, and it's the full stretch that the Regional Gateway take care of.
Yeah, it stinks all the way up to Arvada, too.
Yep, it's a pretty big stretch, and it's more of a regional board. They meet at noon on the first Thursday of the month. Anyone have an interest in serving on the Greenway Board of Directors? Oscar, Paulo? All right, Oscar, you're the man. See how that works? See how that works? It's like in the military. Raise your. Who wants to do this? And everybody steps back. The guy that doesn't realize what's going on gets picked. That's just what happened to you, just so you know. Well, we're making some headway. My God, we got one page left, huh? Yellow I like. We can get rid of that 10-year plan to end homelessness in Adams County.
Oh, we should keep that.
It's doesn't meet. It was Douglas and Elliott. They haven't been meeting.
We want
Steve?
to try to rekindle that with the county.
Well, I think you need to get the county to rekindle it. We're just a member.
All right.
It was the Adams County 10-year plan to end homelessness, and I can tell you right now, if it went 10 years and ran its course, they didn't do their job.
Right.
I shouldn't say that, but it is fact.
Can we get back with
Let
you?
me put a little input here.
Okay.
And it may happen, it may not happen, but Aurora has now hired someone to deal with the homeless, and so has, there was two of them.
Adams County.
Adams County, yes.
Westminster hired, has a special, through their police department, I think, has special assignments to deal with homelessness.
What we could do, if the county reconvenes, or if this gets reconvened in some fashion, we can bring it back at that point in time and have council appoint members.
Yeah, if someone's doing something, we can participate, we will. Education Commission. So this is the two commissions that we've been working hard to put together. We had McEldowney that was to be working with 27J. Amador was to be the liaison to 14. We want to get these set up. We want them to be similar to the Water Commission, where we're meeting at least quarterly and having dialogue about partnerships. So I have 2 people with their hands up, 3 people with their hands up, 4 people with their hands up. What I need to know is, do you want to participate as the liaison to 14 or the liaison to 27J? Nicole?
14.
14? 14? 27J? So I've got 4 people that want to participate, 2 for each. I don't know how we have that set up. Do we have it set up for 2 members each, or one member for each? Brian? Do what? You were the alternate for Andrew. Okay. So we need a member and an alternate. How's that? Member and an alternate. So I've got Nicole wants to be on 27J. Right? And she's the only one that wants to be on 27J?
No,
I think Hosea.
And Jose wants to be the alternate on 27J. And who wants to be the member between Steve and Crystal on 14? I don't care. I don't care.
I'll be the member.
Are you okay with that, Crystal? Because it's easier if you guys work it out amongst yourself. I'm not going to tell you who's the member and who's not.
Crystal?
I don't care. So Crystal's the alternate, you're the member? Okay, you guys got that down there?
Got it. Douglas primary, Elliott alternate for the Adams 14.
And Nicole is the member.
Frank Guardiola.
Jose is the alternate for
it.
27J. All right. Commerce City, Use Tax Committee. That was also McEldowney and Amador. The committee members of the Education Commission, which makes sense, want to also participate on the Commerce City School District 27J Youth Tax Committee. I would look to Jose and to Nicole. Anybody else have an interest? Then we'll leave it to the same members. It helps with unity. Water Commission, I'm on that. I want to stay on that. but I do need a member to attend with me, usually at 4 p.m. on the third Tuesday quarterly. Anybody? Paulo, you want to serve? Anybody else? Water Committee. It's partnerships with South Adams. So we'll leave it at that, me and Paulo. All right. Northeast Transportation Connection hasn't been meeting. It
Yes,
was
ma'am.
Douglas.
Yeah.
So
We're
why
still
is it
meeting.
yellow? Brian?
I'm not positive. I don't know that the city officially has a seat on it. I think Mr. Douglas was attending the meetings, but we're not necessarily voting members. Does that make sense,
Yeah, no,
Mr.
we are.
Douglas?
We do. We vote on those.
So the city has a seat, and we are a voting member.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why it's yellow.
I don't even know what it is.
Well, let's appoint someone then.
All right. Douglas, you want to stay on that?
Sure.
Anybody else have an interest? Bi-monthly, fourth Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. Then we'll leave Douglas on it. Friends of the Front Range Wildlife Refuges. That was Bullock, Elliott, and Diaz. Honestly, I think it's a very worthwhile organization. Third Thursday at 4 p.m. It's out at the Arsenal. We can have as many or few members as we want. They work on running the programming for the refuge. So we have Bullock is gone. Elliott and Diaz are still here. Elliott, you want to continue to serve on that?
I would actually suggest as an alternate.
Okay.
On this side, it does as I was actually alternate.
Okay. Diaz? Member? As a regular member? Okay. Anybody else? Benjamin? Anybody else? We'll put Benjamin and Diaz as the regular members and Elliott as the alternate. Correct? Okay. Stapleton Citizen Advisory Board. Apparently that one's on the outs too. Huh, Brian?
It's yellow because, again, we don't officially have a seat. Andrew had an interest and so was attending and would bring back information as appropriate. But I don't think we have the ability to appoint somebody.
I don't either.
Certainly council members are free to attend if they would like.
And this isn't the cab that dealt with the Arsenal, is it?
It is not.
Okay. All right. If nobody has any concerns, we'll let that go. So then we have the Fire Commission. 2 members. It was Teeter and Carson. Their meetings vary as needed. That is a very sensitive board. We're trying to get that, and I would like, once these members are set, that we organize this and meet as we do for the Water Commission with staff. I want to make that clear, with staff and 2 representatives with the board members from the fire district, so we can have a collaborative approach to work with the fire district. Teeter, you want to stay on that?
Yes, Mayor.
Is there anyone else that has an interest in serving to be a co-chair with the fire district? Oscar? Anyone else? All right, put Teeter and Oscar on it. You want to help with coordinating that, Mr. Teeter? Staff, set it up?
Yes.
We need to get regular meetings and start having positive dialogue. Can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. RAC, Regional Air Quality Council. Diaz, you want to stay on that?
Yeah, this is a state appointment.
Right? And you're the state, you are the appointee, right? All right. Anybody else have any concerns with that? Seeing none. All right, let's see. Metro North Chamber of Commerce. That is Diaz and Douglas is the alternate right now, and Elliott is the second alternate. That is slated to go off, but we are meeting Wednesday with the Metro North Chamber They do have a new chairman. I'm hoping that they can turn around their services, and so just for a council background, we reduced our membership with the Metro North because they were going through some major changes, and I don't want to get into too big of details, but they were going through some major changes, and we didn't believe we were getting 100% of the services that we deserved for the amount of money that we were spending. So we dropped our membership dues back to a lighter level. Now that they have some leadership coming into the organization, it is Moss, Greg Moss.
Greg Moss.
Very well-known person. Was he with CBS? 9 News. So I'm hoping that he can help orchestrate and bring Metro North back to where it was. We're going to have that meeting Wednesday, and we're going to have some discussions about where we fit into the mix and what the plans of attack are for Metro North Chamber. But it's also important that you all understand we have the Commerce City Chamber of Commerce, newly slated. We have the Business Professional Association. We're members of all these organizations, and we want to make sure that we have the right organizations to participate with our businesses to help move them forward. And we have ribbon cuttings and a lot of those kind of things. We're also members of the Brighton Chamber at a certain level, and we're also members of the Denver Chamber at a certain level. So there's a balance to where's the benefit. And we see benefit increasing in one, we'll switch and put more effort into that organization. Benefit decreasing in one, we'll reduce our membership. And so we try to put our money where it best benefits our communities. So with that being yellow, I would like to put that one on hold. I don't want to make it go away. I want to put it on timeout until we have this collaborative meeting on Wednesday. How's that sound, Paulo?
Sounds great.
Okay. Everybody else okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. National League of Cities and Economic Development. Diaz is on there. Is that also a state appointment?
It's an NLC appointment.
An NLC appointment, all right. Transportation Infrastructure Service, that one is also a NLC appointment, correct? And you both have interest in continue to serve on those NLC appointments?
Yeah, I signed back up. Did you sign back up to this?
And so here's the thing. When the new members, when you go to NLC, there will be all kinds of opportunities for you to serve on committees that are tied to the National League of Cities. And those meetings are when you're out of town. When you're at the NLC in spring and fall, there will be opportunity for you to meet and collaborate with people on issues that you have of interest, whether it's transportation, refuge collection. I mean, they have a ton. Those are going to be a whole nother set of involvement that you want to take a look at. So when you are out of town, and some of those you'll see as the year goes on, you'll see Mr. Douglas go, hey, I serve on this committee for NLC, and we're going to Amazon headquarters or Facebook headquarters or whatever it is in California. We're going to look at new technology and transportation and what have you. So we allow for him to bring back that information to better our community. So keep that in mind when you're at NLC. That's how these guys signed up for those committees, and that's where you will want to sign up for those committees. All right. I didn't want to pass that up and have you go, wow, why do they get to stay on it? You will all have your opportunity to serve on whatever. I'm telling you, we could evaporate any free time you have with your families pretty quick. All right, other meetings and social opportunities for the council. All council members are allowed to go to the ADCOG dinner. ADCOG dinner is Adams County. It's our Adams County Council of Governments. And so it will be members of the Westminster, Arvada, Brighton, Thornton, Northglenn, Federal Heights, and Broomfield. And Bennett. Thank you. We have a dinner. I think it's monthly.
Quarterly.
Quarterly? Quarterly. Thank you, Steve. Quarterly. And we host that when it's our turn. And so you will all be given invites. And so when you see AdCog, that's an invite for you and your spouse, or I believe it's still you and your spouse, is it not? To be able to attend that dinner. And then the presenting city will give some kind of a program. And, you know, sometimes we're in Bennett, sometimes we're in Brookville. Just depends on who's hosting. But everybody's welcome to go. I just wanted, when you see that on your calendar, you know what it is. Area boards. Also, me and Rick have been the members of the area boards. Everybody's allowed to go. I would really encourage every council member to attend at least one area boards meeting. I want to stay the member, but I want to make sure. Rick, do you want to continue to be on area boards?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes. So this is a collaborative. Area boards was put together when we were having issues with cleaning up the arsenal. It is a membership of School District 14, Adams, Adams Water and Sanitation, Tri-County, South Adams Fire, RMA, the Wildlife Refuge, and
Norma City Business.
Norma. No, not CCBPA.
Kids First.
Kids First.
Yeah,
Kids
they're on there.
First. CCBPA? So we usually meet quarterly, and we have it alternating. Sometimes that meeting will be here. The city will do it. Sometimes the fire district does it. Sometimes the water district. But does anybody else have an interest in serving on area boards?
No.
Third Tuesday at
Well,
11:30 a.m.
Mayor Ford, what we can do is just send that invite out to council.
Would
If you'd
you
like to
please?
attend, you're
Yeah.
free to attend.
All right, yeah, because I want you to go check it out. If you get a chance, when you see that invite come across to area boards, it's pretty interesting because it's all of our local agencies that are working together on what we're working on. And they give you updates. How many baby buffalo were born at the arsenal? What's the cleanup going on? What's the cap and cover condition? What South Adams Fire is building, what new fire station. So it's that kind of stuff. All right, Memorial Day Parade Advisory Committee. They are the council members that work with staff to make sure that everything's set up and that you have the candy to throw. Crystal, you want to stay on that?
Yes.
Douglas wants to stay on it?
Yes.
Anybody else want to participate? They meet monthly, and we have the biggest Memorial Day Parade in the state of Colorado. So anybody that wants to participate, please do so.
And we have 64th paved this year.
Yep. Now, that brings us to the end of the list, but I want to ask the council first before I have the staff go over this, that, you know, if we skip by something and you've rethought about it, whatever, I don't want you to leave here and feel like you didn't get the opportunity to serve on something that you may want to. So now is the time for you to go, hey, you know, I really thought about this. I really want to be on Dr. Cog. So kick Steve off, kick Rick off, whatever. Now's the time. Before you all sat here and did this with me. I didn't do it. You did it for yourselves. If everybody's okay with it, we'll move on. Can you be an alternate? Well, Rotary doesn't have an alternate, but you know what? Here's the deal. Let me tell you real quick about Rotary. It meets weekly, Wednesdays at noon at El Jardín, and it lasts from noon to about 1:30. We have a presentation every week. What I would say is you need to be committed to going every week if you're going to be a member. If you're not going to be a member and you want to come once in a while, then you can get a hold of me or Benjamin, and you can be our guest for that day, and we'll sign you up as a guest, and you can come and have lunch with us, and that would be an open invitation to any member of council to participate on a once-in-a-while time frame when you have the opportunity to go. If you want to be a member, I would encourage you that you need to be able to go every Wednesday. So if you want to go, you're more than welcome to go as a guest. If you want to be a member, then they have They have membership requirements that you have to participate. If you miss a meeting, you're expected to make that meeting up through an hour-long program on the computer. So if you want to be a member, you got to be, somewhat tied to it. Otherwise, be a guest. and the Rotarians, Troy was a Rotarian for a long time. Now the chief is going to be the Rotarian. And anytime any staff want to be a guest, more than welcome to take. We could take a guest anytime we want. We just sign them up when we go in and introduce them. You don't think you can do every week? Every week you're in town. And you know what? If that's more than not, I mean, because we only have one right now. But so what I would suggest is, how about this, Benjamin? Before we tie you down as a full member, because you'll go as a guest with me, get you introduced to Rotary, you can see how it's flowing, you can interact, and then if you decide you want to be a regular member, then we'll sign you up as a regular member. Same with you, Nicole. And if you want to just attend once in a while, you can come as my guest. So how about we work it that way? So we'll try it out first.
And just one note, if you cannot attend every week, essentially if you join, the city will be paying your membership dues, which includes essentially buying you lunch every Wednesday. So if you can't attend every week, it ends up not being a terrific investment for the city.
So you can go with me. You just let me know what Wednesday you want to start this on, and you can go with me, get a feel for it, and then decide from there. I think that's the best way to work it. Crystal went for a few times and got to at least interact and get to know Rotary a little bit. So it helps. But anybody that has an interest will do that, all right? Not something that you have to, because there's not this huge, everybody wants to be a Rotarian. We have opportunity for 2 members if anybody desires to do that. But if you have a free Wednesday and want to go for lunch with me, you can go for lunch with me. How's that, Brian? We're good? Anybody else have any concerns on the list? Steve?
I don't have a concern, but on the retreat planning committee, are we going to meet soon in the first part of January to line?
Yes. Now that we will have folks appointed to move forward.
Yeah, I'm on there, right? Still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, my head's in the cloud on that one. Thank you.
Sean, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it needs to be on here because it's not necessarily a city appointment. However, I don't know if it's worth putting on there because everyone's on there. But I also serve on the 27JA Foundation. And so I don't know if it's worth bringing up, making that officially the city's.
Brian?
It makes sense to include it on the list because we do have the Adams 14 Education Foundation.
Okay.
And are you appointed as the city representative on the 27J Education Foundation?
Sure, I really don't know what they appointed me.
Okay.
I think we should do that. We can add that on the list after today.
Okay.
And maybe just continue having Councilman Diaz serve.
Okay. Any other, now that we're through the list, is there any other committees and or boards that this council feels we're lacking and need to create? I'll let you get your feet wet for a while, and then you can come up with some new plans. All right, Brad, let us have the list.
All right, I'm going to go through this quickly, so just holler if I've made a mistake. Board of Adjustment, Benjamin Huseman. Derby Review Board, Rick Teeter. Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, Crystal Elliott and Steve Douglas. Police Pension Board, Steve Douglas is the member, Oscar Madera is the alternate. Senior Commission, Paulo Diaz and Rick Teeter. Youth Commission, Nicole Frank and Jose Guardiola. Cultural Council, Crystal Elliott and Jose Guardiola. Housing Authority, Steve Douglas is the primary, Oscar Madera is the alternate. Retreat Planning Committee, we have Steve Douglas, Crystal Elliott, Rick Teeter, Oscar Madera, and Jose Guardiola. So that's 5, which is perfectly fine. Boards and Commissions Committee Nicole Frank, Benjamin Huseman, Rick Teeter, Steve Douglas, Jose Guardiola. Legislative Committee, Sean Ford, Steve Douglas, Rick Teeter, Benjamin Huseman, Crystal Elliott. Again, anybody can attend, especially if the meetings stay prior to the council meetings. ADCO Economic Development, Rick Teeter is the member, Paulo Diaz is the alternate. The Adams County Executive Committee Breakfast will have Rick Teeter. Adams 14 Education Foundation, Oscar Madera is the primary, Jose Guardiola is the alternate. The Airport Coordinating Committee, Sean Ford and Rick Teeter. CML Policy Committee, Steve Douglas is the member, Paulo Diaz is the alternate. Commerce City Business and Professionals Association, Rick Teeter is the member, Jose Guardiola is the alternate. Commerce City Chamber of Commerce, Nicole Frank is the member, Benjamin Huseman is the alternate. Dr. Cog, Rick Teeter will be the member, Benjamin Huseman is the alternate. Same with the Dr. Cog Metro Visions Issues Committee, Rick Teeter and Benjamin Huseman. E470, Steve Douglas is the member, Paulo Diaz is the alternate. Metro Mayor's Caucus will continue to have Mayor Ford as the primary. The National Organization to Ensure a Sound-Controlled Environment, Paulo Diaz. NADA, Sean Ford is the member, Rick Teeter is the alternate. Rotary Club, currently we'll just have Sean Ford. 27J Facility Fee Foundation, Paulo Diaz. Sand Creek Regional Greenway, Oscar Madera. Education Commission, the primaries, the members will be Nicole Frank and Steve Douglas. The alternates will be Jose Guardiola and Crystal Elliott. Commerce City 27J Use Tax Committee, Jose Guardiola and Nicole Frank. Water Commission, Sean Ford and Paulo Diaz. The Northeast Transportation Connection, Steve Douglas. Friends of the Front Range Wildlife Refuges, Benjamin Huseman, Paulo Diaz, and the alternate is Crystal Elliott. The Fire Commission, Rick Teeter and Oscar Madera. The RAC will be Paulo Diaz. NLC, Community and Economic Development, will continue to be Paulo Diaz. NLC Transportation and Infrastructure Service Committee will continue to be Steve Douglas. And then I'll skip down to the Memorial Day Parade Committee will continue to be Steve Douglas and Crystal Elliott. Did I get those right?
Yep.
No changes. I think it would be clean if somebody would make a motion to that effect and council acted.
Is there a motion?
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith has a comment?
You want to add the 27J Education Foundation?
Yes, and we will add to the list 27J Education Foundation and the members Paulo Diaz.
Okay. Need a motion.
We'll have to come back. Well, let's see you make one.
Councilwoman Elliott.
Move to approve the boards and boards and committees for city council appointment as amended.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nicole
I'll second.
Frank. I'm sorry. I'll get used to it. Just give me some time. All right, because you have two first names. And it just kills me. Because I don't want to look at you and go, Councilman Frank? I don't want to do that. All right. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried.
We will publish the list and distribute it out to everyone.
All right. We get into reports. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. We did distribute the city manager update prior to tonight's meeting, and with a suggestion from Councilman Huseman, there was a delay in the past in publishing the city manager update on the website, which also then sent it out to those who subscribed it. So now, provided we publish the city manager update early enough on Monday afternoons, we'll very soon after, publish it to the website, so those who subscribe to it will get it almost as quickly as you all do.
Good.
On tonight's update, we did include a letter from the Water District. They are moving forward with the recommendations from their Hardness Advisory Committee, so that's an important
Do you know
correspondence for you to read.
what system they chose, how it's going to be paid for? Is it going to be the $12 and something monthly added to everybody's bill, or will it be an increase in fees, or do you know what they chose? Roger?
What we know at this point is that they went with a pellet system, and they do plan to add a fee at a later date, but the exact date hasn't been set that we know of yet.
Do you have an idea when it would be in operation? I know they're in testing now, but that's probably going to take some time to get a system built and installed. And I was just curious, anybody watching at home and for the members of the council have an idea when they effectively think that the pellet system will go into effect to produce softer water for the community?
Well, they'll have to design the plant and then do the construction of the plant. It's a large facility.
Big facility, right?
Yeah. So timeline, I would imagine, is a couple years, but I don't know the exact dates yet at this point.
All right. Thank you.
We also have in this evening's update an update on a previous update that we provided on a section of pavement on 104th Avenue on the eastbound side, east of Landmark Drive. It was originally to be replaced this summer. It's been added to some other sidewalk work in the core part of the city, and so the new schedule is that it'll be fixed and replaced by April of next year.
Okay.
In addition to that, we also have some correspondence from the Boys and Girls Club and our monthly capital project update. So happy to answer any questions. Reach out if you have any.
Anybody have any questions for Brian on his reports? Robert?
I have nothing additional to report tonight.
Thank you. I'll go through mine. I'll try to make it brief. I normally write them down, but I'm going to go through my calendar and get that done today. McLean Food Service opening. Great event. We got to tour their facility. Pretty impressive. Several of you were there. Tower Road completion event, ribbon cutting. That was also a big hurdle and one of our 2K projects. So that finishes off 3 projects out of the 5. Rotary, of course. We had the farewell party for outgoing council members. I did have a meeting here at City Hall with Shuck Communities. That happens to be the developers that are partnered with the Chris Thompson's development, where for the new members, it's the piece of property there where McLean Food went in with 7-Eleven, potential hotel site, potential more logistics and or office retail opportunities. So they came in and had a meeting with them. I did attend the holiday employee holiday lunch. Thank you to staff for putting that together. A lot of employees, and it was well attended. So thanks to all the council that also attended that. We had the annual legislative dinner. Again, thanks to staff for the efforts in setting that all up. I think the evening went well and was fairly informative. Had the ACED Executive Committee meeting. Had an ACC meeting. Again, Rotary. NADA, National or Northern Area Transportation Authority. Rick went to the 7-Eleven grand opening on 56th Avenue. I don't know if any other council members made that opening. And then, of course, one of my favorite things to do, I met with my families and purchased shoes through Rotary for kids in our community that otherwise wouldn't have Christmas gifts. So we buy shoes for about 375 kids in Commerce City that are identified throughout the year that would need that service. So it's always, this time of year is great to do that. Then, of course, we had our special meeting, executive session, and I also met last Friday with Michael Hancock, members of Denver, and a select group of the ACC. So that continues to eat up a lot of time. Does anybody have, of course, we had Mingle with Kringle. I didn't get to attend this year. I know some of the members went to Mingle with Kringle. This time of year, it seems like we get slammed with a lot of those kind of things. So I'm open if anybody has any reports that they'd like to add. Look to my Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Teeter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the NADA meeting last Thursday, the mayor of Westminster was the first city to go back and visit our elected officials in Washington, D.C., and I'll just throw some of the things out here that he commented to us. They may come to fact or they may not, but let me just run down it real quick. They're talking about a transportation gas tax increase. They want 15 cents. We're going to try for 7. The Tiger grants are going away probably. Both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, are not working together. That's no surprise. Privatizing, actually, the bonds are trying to do away with the privatization bonds. Yep. On your taxes, the maximum is going to be $10,000 if you got that kind of a write-off. They're also claiming that the CBDG funds may go away again. That's every year, so that's nothing new. We are going to be involved in a bike share program with 5 different cities. So Commerce City will be involved with the bike sharing program in the future. And as the mayor said earlier, the rail looks like it's going to be 2020 before it gets off the ground, hopefully. There was talking about maybe AAA going away, Meals on Wheels may go away, transportation for seniors may go away. And the good news is Lynn Baca from Brighton is the new president. Sean Ford is the new vice president. Chaz Tedesco is the treasurer. And Brian and I both, like I said, we met Friday with this organization. And the youth gave a program, and who's ever in charge with the youth here now, on February 23rd and 24th, Westminster is going to host a youth foundation where they all get together from Colorado. So they'll be looking for some money from us to promote these people that can't afford to go to the hotel and spend the night and 2 days of classes. So who's ever got the youth thing, it's coming down the pike, and that's going to be something for our kids.
Thanks, Rick. Anybody else?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes, thank you. Last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, I couldn't attend the employee luncheon because at the CML Policy Committee meeting, it's going to be very interesting. This session starting in 2018. Let's see, E470. We had a meeting talking about economic impacts along the corridor E470. Real estate valuation along the corridor is $38.4 billion. There's 407,000 homes built along the corridor. 132,000 jobs created within the area. 21,000 households depend on E470 for travel. 7,800 workers depend on E470 for travel. And 14.8 million driving hours saved by using E470. They have expanded some of the sections of the road on E470 from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. There's a future master plan to increase E470 through certain corridors. Commerce City section is due to increase, I think, in 2025 to 2025 to 2030 from the 6 lanes to 3 on each side to 4 on each side. Also on Friday, got to serve with food banks of the Rockies, along with Cup and Boyer's Coffee, and handed out donuts on that day. Tended to mingle with Kringle. They had, at the time that I was there, they had 280 participants to visit with Santa, and that was a great event. So, thank you very much.
Yep. Anyone else? Rick?
Steve, you might touch on, we're going to feed these people Thursday?
Oh, yes, sorry about that. This Wednesday, the public and the council is invited. There's a food shelter or food bank over here off 56, just one block west of 56 in Quebec. And we'll meet over there at 1 o'clock for 2 hours. It's going to be on a volunteer basis for elected officials and our citizens if they want to come out and volunteer. We'll email you the information so you'll know. Slightly here before you go home, you'll have it.
Mr. Douglas, did you say
it's this Thursday?
Thursday.
The 20, yes, 21st.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
I can't go through the night without mentioning today's event. I think is a milestone for the city of Commerce City to collaborate with regional partners like Denver, DIA, to get the on-ramp that we should have had 20 years ago. And for our residents, I'm sorry that it's taken this long, but we have worked very hard to try to get to the point where we're at, and we couldn't have done it without the partnerships. E470 was an integral part of the funding for the ramp, and I have to hand it to our representative for E470, Mr. Douglas, for the efforts to go back, him and Maria DeAndre, our Public Works Director, and do a presentation and request additional funding from E470 to cover the overage on the ramp, which amounted to $1 million. So with that project, we're getting the ramp built. The city is basically paying for the design and the environmental studies. E470 is paying for the construction of the ramp, and then Denver will be repaying Commerce City for the extension of Tower Road. So a lot of hard work went into that to get to the point where it's there, but I can assure our residents that we will have a ramp on DePena Boulevard southbound Tower at the end of 2018. So congratulations to the council and to our residents to finally have that missing link that we had. I think it's very important, and something I do every year, is I want to wish all of the residents of Commerce City a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, since we won't be here till after the New Year. I want to also take the time to thank our staff, all the way from the parks employee and the guy that fills the potholes, all the way up to the city manager, everybody in between, for all the effort this year. I want to wish you all a happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. Spend the time with your families. Come back after the first of the year nice and refreshed, because we've got a lot of work for you to all do. And last but not least, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the city council members that serve with me. With that, no further action by council. We are adjourned.